All right, I'd like to give you all an update. Today at about 12:43 p.m. in the afternoon, we received a call of shots being fired inside a home on the 10,000 block of North 23rd Street. Our officers were dispatched and arrived within minutes. Upon our arrival, we saw two victims of a shooting running outside the residence screaming for help. Shortly after that, the suspect began to fire at our officers. Our officers were left with no choice but to return fire. The suspect was taken into custody and was not struck by any bullets. After that, the officers went through the residence. Inside the residence, they found a deceased victim. In this case, all parties are known to each other. This is a tragic incident, and our thoughts are with all the victims in this case. Our victims advocate will be reaching out to the families and the victims. This is another stark reminder of the dangers of this profession. Our officers bravely ran into danger and stopped the threat and prevented anyone else from becoming a victim from the suspect. We're thankful for the brave officers, and our thoughts are with the victims. The suspect's name in this case is Michael Banks. He's 42 years old, and he does have a violent criminal history. And I'll bring up the state attorney.
Good afternoon. I'm Suzy Lopez. I'm the Hillsborough County State Attorney. To echo what Chief Bercaw said, the bravery of our officers this afternoon was very well demonstrated. As the Chief told you, this defendant does in fact have a violent criminal history. He went to prison in 2006 for the aggravated battery of a pregnant female. He was released 1 year later. Then in 2010, he was sentenced to 5 years in the Florida State Prison for a battery, second or subsequent, which means he had a prior battery, so this was a felony, as well as a battery on a victim over 65. He was released from prison in 2015 and was sentenced to 5 years of probation to follow that. His probation was terminated in January of 2018. That is the record that we have now in Hillsborough County, and there will be further updates if there are in fact offenses that occurred out of Hillsborough County. Chief Bercaw also told you that the officers were forced to fire back, and that requires an investigation that will be conducted by the Tampa Police Department as well as the State Attorney's Office. This is standard for any time that there is an officer-involved shooting. My office will investigate that, and we will, of course, release that information and the results of that investigation to you in due course. Today, we witnessed a miracle in the fact that our officers were not hurt. Every day, our brave men and women of the Tampa Police Department and all of our law enforcement agencies put their lives on the line for the safety and protection of this community, and we are grateful that none of our officers were hurt today. The charges will be announced at a later date, but they will include most likely charges of first-degree murder, as well as other charges involving felon in possession of a firearm and charges involving these officers who were present today. Thank you.
Any questions? It's part of our ongoing investigation. We know that they're known to each other, and that'll be part of our investigation. That's correct. You know, that's correct. Any way we can get that message out that you don't want to bring a gun to a disturbance or a fight. Obviously, in this case, it's tragedy. We have one person deceased and two other victims. Their lives will never be the same. The police officers that came out here, they were involved in a tragedy incident. This all could have been avoided. The deceased is, I'll get it for you. An adult white female.
We're still trying to make contact with next of kin in order
That's correct.
that.
That's yes.
Do you know the nature, at least, of the relationship between the other victims? They were also women, correct?
Yes, the others were victims. Were women as well. Yes.
3 women in that home. Do you know the? Can you say for certain the relationship of those 2?
They're known to each other, but the exact relationship we're working on right now. Again, we're working through that now. We have witnesses that we need to speak to.
Neighbors identified, Chief, for us that they were told or believed through their own eyes that yellow house that's covered by the trees behind you was the house that was involved. Can you confirm that?
That's a house that we're looking at. Yes.